Hey guys, welcome back to West Virginia Smoking, Grilling, and Outdoors. I got an idea from Guga, and I got a select brisket because this time of year in the winter, it's kind of hard to find a brisket where I'm at. So I'm going to try to make a select grade brisket taste like a prime. I do a lot of Texas here because I do pepper and salt to season my brisket. But I add just a little bit of West Virginia flair to it. I want to be smoking it over top of post oak and hickory wood, about a half and half blend of each to get that good smoky flavor that I like. Just remember, whenever you're doing a brisket, you have to allow yourself a lot of time. And you're probably going to be in the dark at some point, whether it be starting it the night before, like I am, or if you're starting it early in the morning for a later cook. So one of my suggestions is buy yourself a headlamp. Save yourself a little bit of trouble because you're going to want to see what that brisket's doing. Also, make sure you keep some temperature probes both inside the point and inside the flat because they both cook a little bit differently. And unless you know your smoker well, you risk overcooking mainly the flat. So pay close attention to that. I'm going to see how this turns out. I'm going to be using some Wagyu tallow, which I normally don't use. I normally use butter in place of it, and I never, ever inject the brisket. But today, I'm doing a little bit of an experiment. So stay tuned and see how this goes. First step is to get it out of the package. Now, I'm going to tell you I'm not a professional brisket cutter, and I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time on this video with brisket cutting. There are many videos out there that you can watch a professional brisket cutter show you how to cut a brisket. But I'm going to go over what I'm doing. I'm cutting most of the fat off of the point in order to make a really good bark on the burnt ends I plan on making later. And I shape the brisket the best that I can. I save the meat because I'm going to make brisket burgers out of them later, and I save the fat to make some more tallow. I take all the fat off of the point and I scrape down the fat on the flat to about 1/4 inch thick. This is just how I do a brisket. If you do a brisket different, that is fine. Like I say, I'm not a professional. But I will say that scoring around the brisket before you make your final cut helps to find the shape that you really want. Now that the brisket's the way I want it, it's time to season it up. So what am I using? I'm starting out with the West Virginia Flair first. I'm using ramp salt instead of regular kosher salt. This stuff can be purchased online at rampsalt.com. Check this guy out. He's been doing it over 20 years, and this stuff is the best. Next, I've got some Wagyu beef tallow, which I'm going to inject in this to increase the fat content inside the brisket. All I do is inject it about every inch or so all the way throughout the brisket. Now, I'm not going to waste time here showing you every little bit of it, but you can see how it goes all the way through the meat. And I make sure not to jab the injection needle all the way to the bottom to poke a hole in the meat side, because I'm smoking this with the fat cap up. And when it's done being injected, this is exactly what it should look like. Next, you just rub in the excess beef tallow that oozed through. And now it's time to season this thing. We're going to add the West Virginia Flair first, and then you can't forget the coarse ground black pepper. Coarse ground black pepper is essential for forming a good bark on top of your brisket. Make sure that you get all the way around the brisket, including on the sides. Next, it's time to insert the meat stick in to keep an accurate count on the flat, and I'm going to use a different thermometer on the point because I only have one meat stick. After I season my meat, I preheat my smoke. Waiting for the smoke to clear up here just a little bit to get a little bit cleaner smoke. I want to be starting this brisket out at 200 degrees. I want to try to carry that on for about the next 4 hours. The first 4 hours is where you build the biggest part of your bark. That's where the smoke flavor really penetrates in. So I like to start real low and real slow. This is going overnight, so I'm not in a real big hurry, and I want to build the best pork that I can.
I want to take a quick second to thank my 100 subscribers, because without you guys I wouldn't do this.
Our smoke is no longer burning dirty, so it's time to get this brisket in. I want to put it up a little higher. My smoker burns a little hotter in the back, and I want to put the point in the back. The reason I want to put the point in the back is just because it's a bigger piece, has more fat, and it renders just a little bit slower than the flat. 4 hours later, we're at an internal temperature of 145 degrees, so I'm going to bump the smoker up to 225 degrees. And we're going to take it up between 160 and 175 when the rendered fat should start sticking to our fingers. Now at 168 and flat, and we're at 165 in the point. What we're looking for here is the finger to sink in slightly. See that? Wanting it to sponge back, feel basically like Jello. See how this fat's rendered here? Beautiful. About time to give it a wrap. Alright guys, what we got here is some tin foil. I've got it crisscrossed. Okay, we're going to get some generous scoops here of our Wagyu beef tallow. Okay, all I did was spread that Wagyu tallow out. Now we're going to get the brisket in here. Put it right down on top of the Wagyu tallow. We are going to foil boat it. Looks pretty good right there. We're going to get it back in. Now that the fat's rendered up where I want it and got it in the foil boat, I want to take it from 225 up to 250 to finish it out until it's done. And when it's done, it's going to go in like room temperature butter. No resistance. That temperature could be anywhere from 190 all the way up into 205, 206 region. So you just go by probe tenderness, temperature, and time really doesn't matter with a brisket. Hey guys, been checking this thing about every 20 minutes since the point hit 190 and the flat hit 200. Right now, the flat is at 205 and the point is at 196. As you can see, there is basically no resistance on this probe going in. Have just a little bit, so it's not quite like room temperature butter. However, this brisket is ready to come off. Now all we're going to do, put this brisket to bed, put it down in a cooler. We'll cover it here with a layer of aluminum foil over top. I'm just going to wrap it in a blanket. I left my meat probe in to monitor the temperature as it goes, so I can keep an accurate count of the temperature inside. And I'm not going to start slicing it until it gets down to about 165 degrees. The rest is just as important as the cook, so do not skip this step or it will dry out your brisket something terrible. This brisket was in about 12 hours. The first 4 hours I kept it at 200 degrees. After that I bumped it up to 225 degrees until I got an internal temperature between 165 and 175. 165 was on the point, and that was the point where the fat had rendered enough to where I could wrap it. After I got the wrap on, I bumped the temperature up to 250 and finished it out the rest of the way. The entire process took 12 hours. And now the rest. The rest is very important. No less than 2 hours. In a cooler or in an oven set at 150, 160, whatever. But the longer you rest it, the more the juice renders in. Now I'm having dinner later, so what I'm looking at is about a 4-hour rest. Whatever it is after 4 hours, that's the temperature I'm going to cut it at.
4 hours later.
All right, everybody. Moment I've been waiting for. Trying out some of this. Well, this is the flat. See, pulls apart. See the cutting board, how much juice there is here. Pretty good. Not too bad for a select brisket. I can't say that it's as good as the prime. Got great seasoning on it. Taste that ramp salt. Love that. Good beefy flavor came out because of the Wagyu tallow that was put in there. Try this part of the point here. This is going to make fabulous burn ends. Point's always juicier than the flat, no matter what you do. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Like this video, comment if you have anything to say, and share it on any social media outlet you desire. That's about it for today at West Virginia Smoking, Grilling, and Outdoors. See ya on the next one.